Okay, next.
Ted, there's a question in the comments which I can't see a name for. Did you read the one that said, I recently completed a marketing program that focused on selling high ticket offers? No, I didn't think so. Okay, so I don't know who wrote this question. Could you, okay,
Oh,
Tony. Yeah. Tony said, I recently completed a marketing program that focused on selling high ticket offers. While I learned a lot about marketing and engagement, I didn't make sales. After listening to you, I think that I need to create something that is lower risk. Where should I start so that I can make money as a health coach and start paying my bills?
Can we just, I just missed half that because was that in the chat?
I can see that in the chat. Is it, maybe it was?
Yeah, it's in the chat. I had that in another call. I'm not sure what happened, but I see it in the chat listed to everyone from me.
Yeah, it does say to everyone, but there's no name, weirdly.
Okay, so, I don't see it at all. Very puzzling. Okay, well,
I don't see it.
No one else can see it?
Yeah, thanks, Betty.
Mysterious.
Okay, well, I'm glad you caught. Okay, so Betty, could you read it one more time?
Sure, yeah. Okay, so I recently completed a marketing program that focused on selling high ticket offers. While I learned a lot about marketing and engagement, I didn't make sales. After listening to you, I think that I need to create something that's lower risk. Where should I start so that I can make money as a health coach and start paying my bills?
Okay. So the very first question we have to identify, and good to meet you, Tony, is we do want to figure out why it didn't work. So you promoted it to your list, you shared it up, and just there was no uptake on it?
I talked to some people. I think there are probably two parts. I was a little bit uncomfortable asking for the money. The coach really suggested at least $1,000 or maybe $800 if it was beta. And I was still creating it. So I think I was a little fuzzy there. And what you've helped me with is seeing, like, I need to show the distinction for how I'm getting people from island A to island B, but just feeling like maybe I can start paying my bills, like for the coaching program that I bought, selling something lower ticket. Cause I got a lot of friends. I probably gained 1,000 friends. And I feel like some of the people are real friends, or I'll see people on the street and they're like, we like your podcast. I don't even have a podcast, but just hearing my lives. So people know me, people want to talk to me, but it's getting at that like $1,000 mark where it's falling flat. Like even coming from me, I'm feeling uncomfortable with it. But all I had learned was like high ticket offer. That's how you get the real vested people. And I have to say, I like you. I've sent my kids to Waldorf programs. We do homeschooling. So just it's kind of refreshing to feel like, oh, maybe there is another way. I don't actually have to make $100,000 this year, but I do have to pay for programs I bought.
Yes. Well, yeah, and there's not just another way. There's multiple ways. There's so many ways, you know. So for everyone, whenever you put out an offer and it falls flat, the most important thing is a diagnosis of where it fell flat. Yeah. Because if we don't get the diagnosis right, then whatever prescription we have is going to be wrong. So of course, one of the things can be, let's just say there's the external side of this, and then there's the internal side. Yeah, the kind of emotional side, then there's the strategic marketing side. So certainly on the emotional side, if we're charging at a price that feels too high, we will be off rhythm. We won't, when we share the price, people will feel the offness of it. We change as we talk about it. Somebody says, how much is this? It's $1,000. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And just everything in me suddenly rearranged, and people can feel that. And so that can be the thing, just a basic misalignment that we're charging an amount that feels too high for us for the value that we're offering. So there can be that. And part of this is that there's, our own emotional work, but there's also really sitting with the offer and making sure it's as valuable as possible in a way that we really feel like, not I'm undercharging, but like that's worth it. That's a good deal. Holy shit. And I recommend for everyone on my website, there's an article there, marketingforhippies.com/value slider. It's a little tool that I got from a book called Leadsology by Tom Poland. And it's so brilliant. It's so good. I mean, get the book. It's worth it just for this. And I share my take on it, but there's lots in the book that he has examples that I think you'd all benefit from it. And it's really worth it for that one chapter. But it's a way of ranking your offer and seeing where it's strong and where it's weak. And so I'll just do a quick little screen share here to go over this, because there's just as a teaser, so you check it out. First of all, in it, there's a bunch of text and just some context to help you wrap your head around what this is. And then you'll see the different things that are measured, external things. So there's 10 external things and 4 internal things. Anyways, it kind of explains what the hell the thing, what is it about? And then at the bottom, there's also some more videos and a recap for you to really get this. And there's a little self-assessment if you click there, where you can rank your offer on these 10 things. The first thing, for example, is, are you offering a transformation that's relevant to the client's symptoms and cravings, what I would call Island A and Island B? Like, is this really solving a problem for them? Is this really offering a result they actually want? You rank yourself from 1 through 10. Is the result definable and measurable? Is it just you're going to feel better? Or is it you will lose X pounds? Or we will reduce your chronic and persistent pain by 50% in 3 months? That's measurable. See what I'm saying? Is it the wow factor? Like, how significant and dramatic is the transformation? Because I could say, for example, they want to lose weight. Okay. So I say, we're going to help you lose weight. Well, that's relevant. That's what they want. I give a measurable transformation. I say, you are going to drop 1% of your body weight over the next year. You see what I'm saying? That's not dramatic. There's no wow. That's like a 1. It's insignificant. It's like, what? I mean, but it checked the first 2 boxes, but not this one. How fast is the transformation delivered? All things being equal, we would all like it to be faster. You know, we know it can't always be, but if we had the magic wand and we could get it tomorrow, we sure would. Anyways, there's a bunch more. So that's one thing to do, is to go through and really see how does it stack up. And then you can also just see on the next one, I enter my email address. Oh, because the reason you have to enter your emails, because it will email you back the form. So you can actually look at it. Anyways, I'd have to enter my email, but there's the 4 internal things too. I can't recommend it highly enough for all of you. Pick one offer that you have and run it through this and watch the videos, read the stuff. Very eye-opening. And then let's just say, the first thing you can do is, let's say things are hovering around a 6 or a 7. That's no good. That's kind of meh. That's cool. And you get people saying, I'm glad you're out there, you know, which is not what you want. You don't want them saying, that's nice. You want them saying, oh, that's me. Oh my God, thank God you're here. So that's the first thing. So when those things are 6 or 7, you want to ask, how could I increase those? What could I do to boost this in value so it's more dramatic, it's faster, it's better? And that just takes some retooling. Sometimes, unless we ask those questions, the answers don't come. But you'd be amazed if you really put your head to it, like, what could I do to make this faster? What could I do to make this more painless or easier for them? What could I do to make it more dramatic? You come up with ideas. So even if you can increase all those things, just 1 or 2, that's a big deal. Because if you could imagine that all of these, it's not just like this plus this plus this plus this for those 10, it's this times this times this times this. So they have a real magnifying effect, like a 1 number increase ripples over all of them. So there's that, but also some things will just be low. Like, so for example, a transformation that's simpler to implement. Some things are just fucking hard, and that's just how it is. This is a tedious, complicated process, and there's nothing that can be done about that. Or, you know, the transformation that's easier to achieve. Some of these things are just hard. You just can't change it. If that's the case, then we use the old adage, if you can't fix it, feature it. Yeah. So you say, yes, it's hard. That's how you know this is legit. So you just put that in the headline. That's actually, you don't try to hide that. You endorse it. Not exactly bragging, but you're just very clear. Yes, this is true. And that's the deal. And that's just how it is. So, okay. So there's that in term, but let's step back to a couple other things. If the offer doesn't land, one of the things I most recommend doing is you ask the people to whom you made the offer why they didn't buy. You say, can I ask a favor? I had this offer. I was excited about it. I thought there'd be more response, and there was just nada. And I'm a little confused as to why. I mean, I have some thoughts, but I'd also love to hear why. And like no hard feelings. I'm just curious. I'm feeling a little baffled. Any feedback would be warmly, no defensiveness guaranteed. Like, I just want to know. You can guess.
Oh, did we lose Ted?
Things in this order, and this is the first level of diagnosis. Yeah, first level. First thing we got to do is get people's attention. That's role number one of marketing. So the first question is just, how many people did you even reach? Because sometimes people are like, I put out this offer and I got no response. How many people did you talk to? 3. I'm like, okay, that's not bad. 0 out of 3 doesn't tell you anything. 0 out of 100, I'm concerned, but 0 out of 3. So did you even reach enough people? That's one of the first questions for us to all diagnose. You know what? Honestly, I didn't reach that many people. Okay, so we can start there. Let's just try to reach more people so we can get a bigger sample size. Number 2, filtering. That's the second role of marketing. Okay, we got their attention, but now we mutually have to decide if this is a fit. And there are 3 levels of filtering, and this is what they are doing in their head to see if it's a fit. These 3 in this order. First thing is relevance. So you saw that on the value slider. But is this relevant to them? And sometimes we look at the offer and like, oh, actually, this is so broad. This is a kind of everything for everybody offer. So do we have the niche dial? Do we have the target market dial? Do we have the issue, the island A, island B, the specific nature of the product dialed? Or is this a for everybody thing? That's the first thing. Then second is the credibility piece. Did we lose out on that? Like maybe we didn't make enough of a case. Maybe we didn't share our story well enough. There's a lot of reasons people might not trust our offer. And sometimes that's where it falls down. Because there's some things, I look at the headline, it's like, man, you nailed it. That's one of the best headlines I've ever seen. You got the island A and B, but people aren't buying. And then I look at the sales there, I'm just like, oh man, this is so uncompelling. This seems too good to be true. It seems too fluffy. It's not, there's that. And then third, so there's relevance, there's credibility, and then there's value, just return on investment. So for what you're charging, is the value greater than the cost, basically, for them? And then again, sometimes I'm like, oh, you nailed the relevance. You've built such an incredible case, so much evidence, your story is very compelling, but that price is insane. That's mad. Like you're never gonna, for what you're offering, I wouldn't buy, So sometimes it's a value thing. Like we just haven't figured out the right price point. Okay. So first thing, did we get enough attention of enough of the right people? That's a real good thing to wonder. If we did, we move to the filtering. Did we establish relevance? Maybe yes. Credibility? Yeah. Value? Yes. So why aren't people buying? Because there's a third role of marketing, and that's lowering the risk of taking the first step. We got to lower the risk. And if you go to, Betty, can you grab this link? It's marketingforhippies.com/risk. But this is an article that goes over the 3 elements of lowering the risk. And this is huge because it is very possible that you achieve everything else and you fall down on this and nobody buys. Thank you, Betty. So there's the link that you can all go check out. It's just worth knowing. So that's the thing I would suggest. First of all, do the value slider thing. Second, ask people. Third, do a little self-diagnostic on those things. And then just your own internal checking in, like, why did this not work? Now, what you may come to at the end of the day is, I don't feel ready to offer such a high ticket offer. And it may just be that. That's totally fine. Because there are other business models than high-end, high-ticket offers. You can do smaller things as a way to build in. Certainly, that's possible. For everybody, the thing I urge most, go with your instincts. Not with your fears, though, yeah? Not with your reactivity, not with your defensiveness, not with your wounded, oh, that didn't work. But if you feel inspired, like, this type of high ticket offer, I don't dig it. And the other one is, Betty, I think the URL is marketingforhippies.com/premium. This is also worth considering of things to add to a premium offer. I think there are 33 things on this list that you can go through. Because sometimes what's happened is people have crafted an offer. This happened actually just the other day in one of the calls. Somebody realized that they'd gone through a coaching program. They had a high-end offer they'd been coached to do, and they realized they didn't want to do it. They actually weren't that excited about the offer, and they needed to rethink it. If you're not stoked about the offer, you'll sabotage yourself. You just won't do it. So thank you, Betty, for the link. So there's that. So it's really worth thinking, okay, wait a minute. Maybe I was following too tight a script on how you craft a premium offer, a high-end offer. What do I want to do? What's the offer that I'd be excited to share that I think would really help people on this journey from A to B? What's that offer? You come up with that, and then you may find it's much more compelling. Oh, and the last, Betty, marketingforhippies.com/sales letter. Because then once you've got the offer, you want to really write it out well. You want to craft it. And we're not all such good copywriters, but this is a 16-point outline that you can follow that'll just give you the basics of writing a sales letter that it has a good chance of making the case around the relevance, credibility, and value, and lowering the risk. So that's how we can tie it all together. But make sure you're excited about it. Thank you again, Betty. So Tony, how does that all sit with you?
That helps. That's still a lot. So I'll be back, I'm sure, in the community. So I really appreciate that. Because like I said, I just thought there seemed to be one dream path and drank the Kool-Aid of it. And I did learn a lot from it, but just figuring out there are different ways to be a different kind of person. Actually, shout out to Marianne, because she's the one who told me about you via Howard Jacobson, who's done health coaching with us. And I've loved that, because even now, I'm with him for the second time. I could be with him for free because he's like, don't let money be a barrier to alumni. But he said, if at any time it's not working, just let me know and I'll give you all your money back. And that just felt so comforting, as opposed to this other program where I've charged a couple cards and feeling like it's not working because I'm not doing all the things they're saying, like trying to equate my value with their value, or wanting me to ask people questions I'm not comfortable asking. Yeah.
Let me also put this out. Is something you said earlier, flagged, and you reminded me. I never ask anyone for the money. I never ask anyone for the sale. I just don't. I did that back in the day, when I worked in this Tony Robbins franchise, and I learned all the hard sellings. And that's the whole thing. Well, you have to ask for the sale. You have to ask for the money. I just don't believe that anymore, because I think it's a little presumptive of me to ask somebody to sign up for something when I don't know their life. I don't know if it's a fit. To ask someone to do something is actually a fairly big deal. It's immensely consequential to the other person. And to ask somebody like, would you be the best man at my wedding? It's a big deal. That's not a small ask. To ask somebody to do something that I benefit from personally, it's just, there's a lot in there. So instead, what I suggest is this. We say, I've got this mug And we can tell them the story about the mug and our pottery and all it took to learn how to make this and what goes into this and, you know, why we love this particular mug so much. And then we put it down on the table in front of us. And it's like, oh, so that one's $40, but let me know if you need any help. And then we walk away. They know what to do. They're not an idiot. They know that it's available for sale. Now they know the price, but that's about all we can do. I think that's about as aggressive as we ought to get, is we just lay it down and then they come to their own decision instead of asking them for the money and asking for the sale and applying a sort of pressure. Because of course, most people have a hard time saying no. And then they're talking to us. Oh boy, so much pressure. And the big skill in sales has nothing to do with overcoming objections at all. It's about identifying pressure and reducing it. Yeah, because where did the objections come from in the first place? From the pressure they feel. I had this just the other day. I went to the dentist to get a new mouth guard. God, those things are so fucking expensive. And I'd lost mine. It must have fallen out of my pocket when I was house sitting at my brother. So I have to go for a new fitting. They say, oh, there's a form you have to fill out. And I'm looking, it's just asking me every medical question and have you, I don't know, every symptom you could have ever had for the history of your life. And as I'm filling it out, I'm like, why am I filling this out? I just need a mouth guard fit. So I don't answer most of the questions. I hand it back in. They say, oh, no, you need to fill it in. The doctors need to know. And I'm looking at her thinking, no, they don't. For what I'm coming in for, they absolutely don't need to know this. They don't need to know if I'm allergic to anesthetic because they're not going to be anesthetizing me. They don't need an emergency contact, but I'm not going to, anyways, not my hill to die on that day. So I fill it out and I give it in. And then I come in and they do the nurse is great. They do the fitting. And that's okay. The doctor is going to come and just take a look at your mouth. And I can't even tell the defensiveness I've been feeling the whole time. Why? Because dentists are just sometimes so relentless on the selling and the assumptiveness. Like, great. Okay, so we'll get you booked in for a cleaning and appointment. It's just like, whoa, time out. What do you mean we're going to? The lack of any courtesy I've experienced. And then you're sitting in a chair, sort of trapped, vulnerable, prone, while they just commandeer your life and your health is just a little much. But so I'm saying, and he's like, oh, so the doctor's going to look at, and I said, why? For what? Oh, just, around fit and things like this, which I suspect was only half true. He's looking like, oh, this might become a cavity. And I'm just like, dude, you think I don't know that you're a dentist? And that I can, yeah. And luckily he didn't push it at that point. But I just noticed how defensive I felt and how ready I was to fight. And if he said, look, I know you're only here on the coast for a short while. I don't know if you have a dentist. I don't know if you'd like to talk about taking care of your teeth, or if you'd like me to do a quick exam while I'm here. No pressure at all. I'd be happy to, but maybe you've already got that handled. Oh man, I would have just melted. And I probably would have said, no, I'm okay for today. But I might have said, okay, yeah, go ahead, take a look. Let's see if there's any trouble. But when I feel the close coming, I close. When I feel that pressure, I'm bracing myself. I'm not embracing anything. I can't embrace the conversation. And I was that way the whole time. Because I could feel it, like this is all a fucking racket. You're making me answer these questions and filling out the form so that you can say, oh, it says here you have this. We should take a look at that. It's none of your business, actually. Anyways, that's my rant. So, but this all hinges on asking people for the sale. But why are we asking? What is this agenda to get the sale? That's where all the pressure comes from in the first place. And so there's just that. That's a big part of this is letting go of this old school ask for the sale, go for the close, ask for the money. This will get in the way of a response. Sometimes that alone kills it. They might have said yes, but we did the tactic and now they're defensive And instead of having a human conversation of, is this a fit or not? And let's explore. Now they're bracing. And now it's a pitch and a defense. It's a sales job and objections. And we're in this old game, and they're the buyer and I'm the seller. Now we're stuck in these roles instead of being human beings with each other. So there's that. Okay, that's my rant. Thanks for indulging. Yeah, boy, Marianne's saying right. And how many well-intentioned providers just go with the salesy approach because they think they should? I did. A lot of us do. We just think there's no other way. Well, that's how I have to do it. That's what I thought for quite a while. And thank God there are other ways. I mean, I know the relief you feel in finding my work. I do get it because I felt that relief when I found other people's work that I'm passing on to you. I do understand. It's just, oh my God, what? I can not have to do that shit and it can still work? It's a miracle.